right. Welcome, welcome. I literally can't believe it's already a new year, but I'm really, really excited because I've created a new program where we get to step by step walk through building new, healthier habits and specific strategies to support mental, physical, and emotional well being on a daily basis. So instead of just having a bunch of overwhelming information and not really know what to do with it or how to apply it to your life, my goal is to provide the support, the encouragement, and the strategies that you need to actually apply these things to your life and improve your mental well being, emotional well being, physical well being, maybe even spiritual as well, because I love to incorporate things like prayer and scripture into your routines. So I'm really excited. If you're new, if you're catching the replay of this later and you're not really sure how to begin, make sure you contact me here and I'll get connected with you and help you find the best fit for you to get started with your goals and everything you need. So today I want to just touch on a little bit of how is our mental function, our emotional well-being and all of that, how is that connected to our body physically? Like, we kind of know it's supposed to be, but I still come across a lot of clients and a lot of people that are struggling to understand exactly how that works. So hopefully this will help clarify for you. If you have further questions, please feel free to reach out. And as always with these weekly sessions, the goal is that you have the accountability, the encouragement, the support that you need, along with practical strategies for everyday life. And that you have that weekly check-in so that we can keep the motivation going. Even if that last week didn't go the way that you wanted, even if you feel like you missed the mark or you didn't do what you really wanted to do, that's okay. It's about coming together, having that connection and that encouragement, no matter what, good, bad, and everything in between that week or day was. So hopefully you can understand that. And I always start our weekly sessions with, how are you doing? I love to hear from you guys. And a lot of people just kind of share in the chat of, what was one high and one low of the week? What was something that was really great? What was something that was a big challenge? And then I share lots of helpful strategies and practical tools. And then we go into, okay, what's the action plan for this upcoming week, so that you have specific things that you're working on. And I know how to check in with you. I know how to provide you information that's going to support you in where you're at and what you're working on. So, okay, how is the mental emotional component connected to us physically? It has a lot to do with our central nervous system. What's our central nervous system? Our central nervous system is our brain and our spinal cord, with all those little nerves that connect out to our organs, our muscles, our joints, all of the things. Okay. Think of like, that's the central freeway of our body systems. That nervous system tells the brain what's going on. Is there inflammation? Is there stress? Is there trauma? Is there an injury? Are we happy? Are we tired? Are we sleepy? Are we awake? What is going on? It tells our brain. All those signals are going back and forth. And then our brain is responding and telling our organs, oh, we need more of this hormone. Oh, we need less of this or more of that, so on and so forth, sending signals. The motor cortex saying, hey, we're running. Hey, we're walking. Hey, we're sleeping. Hey, we're doing whatever we're doing. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. So when it comes to the mental and emotional piece, we have our thoughts, we have our emotions. Are we sad? Are we happy? Are we frustrated? What are we? Those thoughts and emotions also send signals to our brain that actually activate the limbic system in our brain, among other areas like our amygdala and all kinds of little areas in there that create neurotransmitters. Those are kind of like hormones, but for the brain, like our oxytocin, our dopamine, our serotonin, even melatonin is considered a neurotransmitter. Our cortisol is actually a hormone, but it acts as a neurotransmitter a lot of times, the way it interacts with the brain and the nervous system. Okay. All of those things start getting produced based on what those thoughts and emotions are communicating with those parts of the brain. then that part of the brain actually sends physical signals down that freeway to the body to say, this is what's going on. We're worried, we're frustrated, we're angry, we're tired, we're sad, we're overwhelmed, whatever it is, happy, excited, surprised. That actually sends physiological signals to our body, and our body will have a physiological response, whether that's happy or anxious or whatever it is. So I hope that makes sense. So how do we regulate that nervous system? We're going to go deeper into this next time because I'm almost out of time today. I want to keep this short. But we can use mental and physical strategies to help regulate that. So what that looks like, it can look like using certain thought patterns that help shift our brain into a different part of the brain out of, let's say, a fight or flight or place of anxiety or whatever that is, frustration even, and shifting those thought patterns. For example, from I'm really frustrated about this to everything's going to work out in the end, right? So we have those intentional mental shifts that help with the mind and the emotions. And then along with that, we can pair it with a physical movement, stretching, deep breathing. That's more of a physical action that partners with those mental, intentional mental tools to actually send signals to our brain to say, hey, everything's going to be okay. We are calm, we are happy, we are safe. Everything is going to be okay. So there's many different ways to do that. And I do think each person's a little bit different and what really works for them and what doesn't. And there's also the principle, this is really, really important to understand. I actually have a whole podcast episode that I did on this. So if you want that, you can reach out to me. But our brain and the signals that it sends back and forth, and even our body has pathways that have been ingrained, like pathways through a field where people have been walking through it a lot, right? The grass wears down and there's a path, there's a dirt path through the field, right? That happens when we have motor memory patterns of habits that we have physically, as well as mental and emotional habits. Our mental, emotional, and physical patterns all create ingrained pathways with our nervous system and our physiological systems. Okay. So, what does that mean? That means those are basically habits, those are patterns or habits, and we can rewrite them. So when it comes to habits that are not so healthy, right? Patterns that are not very functional and healthy, we can change those. But it's not like this. It's not, I think I'm happy. All of a sudden, I don't deal with depression anymore. It doesn't work like that. Okay. And any counselor, therapist, will also explain something kind of similar. There's different ways of explaining it. So how does that work? What we are doing is we're recognizing that pattern when it's happening. Let's say anxiety attack, for example. Hopefully you don't have that, but let's say some pattern like that, or a pattern of snapping and getting angry quickly, or whatever the pattern is. How do we recognize it? And then we start these small intentional shifts. Like, okay, I don't want to go down that path. It's an easy path because it's a habit, it's a pattern. I want to shift. So we start that mental emotional pivot. I'm choosing that I don't want to go that way. I want to go this way. I want to be joyful, loving, hopeful, whatever, right? And it's not a magic button, but over time, we make that intentional shift. We recognize, we shift, and then we start shifting mentally, emotionally, and physically, helping our brain, our nervous system, and our body to create new paths, new patterns, new habits. It does take time, however, and that's where I used to always get frustrated when I was first married. My husband used to tell me, well, as I used to struggle with anxiety a lot, well, just think happy thoughts and, everything will be fine. You'll be totally fine. And I was like, that is completely ridiculous because of course you would, you try to think a happy thought. It doesn't erase anxiety. It doesn't it doesn't make that pattern disappear. However, with time and practice, with persistence, you can intentionally shift and move your brain, your body, and your emotions in a new direction and create a new pattern. And then eventually you get to the point where that old pattern becomes a little bit more overgrown with the grass. The grass starts growing back a bit. And it becomes easier and easier to shift, easier and easier to use those tools that we'll go through more of them next time, and move yourself in a healthier direction for your mental and emotional well-being, as well as your physical habits. It's the same thing for our physical habits, our eating patterns, our are we drinking water, or are we drinking, too much coffee or too much wine, or fill in the blank, whatever it is, or too much sugar, or all of those habits can be shifted, but it does take some time. And that's why this program that I've created and these weekly sessions, I create them to be somewhere between 8 to 10 weeks of consistently working on these things so that we can have enough time to shift those patterns. It's not going to happen in a week or 2 weeks or 1 or 2 or 3 sessions. Okay. That's why this is a process. It's a journey. Okay. So I am so, so excited to be here with you. Make sure you reach out to me with any questions. A quick overview of what we're going to be working on. We're going to dive deeper into regulating the nervous system next week, those mental emotional patterns and how that's connected physically, and what tools we can use. And then the next time we're going to work on our gut brain connection, and that's going to take a couple of sessions. So we're going to work on that over a couple different weeks, and I'll share tools and strategies with you. And how what's going on with that digestive tract, that nutrition, the inflammation of the body, how that's connected to our brain, and what we can do to help. We're going to go after that. We're going to look at what's going on with our lymphatic system, how to manage inflammation, how to maybe do a little bit of a lymphatic detox, what tools and strategies are going to help with that. And then we're going to work on how do we help boost happy hormones, improve focus and energy, what tools and strategies are going to help with that, how do we shift habits in that area. After that, we're going to look at specific daily routines to really help with nutrition and the habits surrounding our nutrition, and how we fuel our body well without being constantly deprived, without doing like a fad diet or something like that. And then we're going to work on specific stress relief strategies. Within stress relief are things like releasing physical tension, as well as our sleep support, things like that, making sure our adrenals are supported, because those are how we handle stress better, all of those types of things. We're going to look at all that. And that might actually take a couple sessions. And then we're going to wrap up our program here, working on strategies for movement, stretching, releasing the tension, but having a level of activities that's really going to support our overall well-being. So I'm really, really excited. I look forward to seeing you soon and getting connected. Take care.